Welcome. Now in this module, we're going to talk about security documentation and specifically about guidelines. So guidelines are the fourth step in the hierarchy of documentation following policies, standards, procedures, and then finally guidelines. Let's take a look in more detail. So as you can see in the policy, we referred to rules related to key issues, and that was the constitution, what needs to be done, a little bit about importance of why it needs to be done. Standards help to define the policy a little bit further with specific details related to measurement, how much or what frequency of the activity. Procedures are detailed steps, also called SOPs. How something needs to be done, when it needs to be done, who needs to do it, and these are typically mandatory steps, just like standards. And then finally, we come to guidelines, which are just recommendations, non-mandatory recommendations, which meaning they are not compulsory. And these are suggested, general or detailed, usually step-by-step instructions on what, how, when, and who regarding what needs to be done. It's what, how, when, and who. So all of that detail is there in the guideline. Now, guidelines are recommendations to users when specific standards do not apply. In cases where a specific standard is not being applied, these are all those cases where there's a general guideline or a best practice being suggested. Guidelines are designed to streamline certain processes according to what the best practices are. Guidelines, by nature, should be open to interpretation and do not need to be followed specifically to the letter because they're not compulsory. These guidelines are three characteristics: more general versus specific rules. They're just general. They provide flexibility for unforeseen circumstances. They are suggested. They should not be confused with formal policy statements. And that's the difference between guidelines and SOPs and standards and then, of course, the policy. That's all that we have for this module. Thank you.